So we're going to start with the question. I've made my 2x2 table here, and I just made these numbers up. It really doesn't matter. We're not going to actually do any math. So I think the hardest thing for me was I understand conceptually the difference between sensitivity, specificity, positive and negative predictive value, and I understand how to do the math, but my challenge is always, like, when faced with a word problem, what are the key words to look for to determine which question is asking what? So how do I translate that into the word problem? So we're going to start with this first word problem, which says, if the person has the disease, what's the probability that the test is positive? Now, it doesn't really matter what disease this person has, but so we start with has the disease. The question stem has told us this person has the disease, so we're going to go up to our disease column, and we're going to go to positive because we know the person has the disease. And then the rule of thumb is we start at the top, we go down. Okay? So this person has the disease. What's the probability that the test is positive? So has the disease. We start here in the person has the disease column, and then we go down. What's the probability that the test is positive? So here's the test is positive, and they have the disease column. Since we started in has the disease, we go down. So we're looking for sensitivity. So the second question asks, if the person has a positive test, what's the probability that the person has the disease? So again, I've bolded the part that is the important part. So the question stem tells us the person has a positive test. So we know we start at test. We start at positive test, and we're still looking for this number, but we start in this column. And since we start to the side, we go across. So the person has a positive test. What's the chance that they also have the disease? Since we started with test, we go across because the question tells us they have a positive test, so we know that this is true. What's the chance that then this is true? So first question asks if they have the disease. Since it starts at disease, which is at the top, we go down, which is sensitivity. Second question asks if the person has a positive test, so we start with test, and here's positive test, so we go across since we started on the side. Okay, we'll do another one. So if the person has a negative test, okay, so we know we're starting with test because it says the person has a negative test. Start with test. This time instead of positive, we're going to negative test. Oops. Negative test. So again, we started on the side, so we go across. The person has a negative test. That's right here. We're looking for this column, right? But we want negative predictive value. They have a negative test. What's the chance? They do not have the disease. So we're looking for the negative, negative, true negatives. Okay, and then another one would say the person does not have the disease. So again, if we start with disease, we go down. Whoops. Yeah. We start with disease, we go down. So go to the negative disease column, negative sign. What's the chance that they don't have a positive, or that they have a negative test? So negative disease, negative test. So since we start with disease, we go down the columns, and that's specificity. So hopefully that is helpful.